All right, now with this project, I can finally test it. This is what I was doing at the end of the last demo. But everything is just at a set frame rate. The rain comes, good. The T-Rex comes, takes him. Okay, but then the problem is it just jump cuts back. Right? So I end with an empty setting that's all stormy. And then it jumps back to that. So in order to make it loop, I need to brighten this scene back up. And this is just an added bonus to kind of make it loop better. And to do that, I start taking the opacities on these down a little bit. Until they're eventually not there anymore. And just turned off. Until I can get back basically to just the last frame. Which is there. And now I can take all of these frames which led up to that last frame, and duplicate them, right? So that's the last frame. So take all of these, hold down Shift, select them all, copy them, go to the end, paste them after my last selection, reverse them. Can you see how those two frames match pretty well? I just have to get rid of the bird in these three. Actually, they're different birds from different layers, so I have to go turn off that bird layer in each one. And then it should kind of animate out and be a nice loop. So let's see how that works. Okay, so now I've got everything. Now I have to deal with timing. So what moments seem to go kind of too slow? What moments can go faster? And one, I think, is it's weird to kind of zoom or pan back and then go immediately. So I think I want to stay at that first frame a little bit longer. So I'm going to set the first frame to be a full second. So how does that look now when I'm at the end? So it stays there. Oh, it can go even longer, maybe full 2 seconds. It doesn't take any extra memory for it to hold for longer on a single frame. It takes just as much memory if you show a frame for just a fraction of a second. So now it hovers there before starting again. I like that. Something else we can do is speed up this part, the strike, and especially the closing of his jaw. So for these, I'm going to speed it up to maybe 0.2 seconds. Let's see how that works. Yeah, that works a little bit better. So you have control of the timing of each individual frame. And then the last thing I'll show you, which I don't think I need in this very much, but it's called tweening. And the one place that I can use tweening would probably be from here, once he's out of the frame, from here to here. That's a pretty big change, just with empty space. So if I wanted to, I could tween between these. And to do that, you select the second of the two you want to build frames in between. Hold down Shift, select the one before it, and then click on this tweening tab within the window. And you can add as many frames as you want. I'll do 3 with a position, opacity, and effects all matching. And then it will build extra frames in between with just subtle differences. So it's a way of playing with timing too. And if there's any kind of big jumps, especially in the environment, like maybe between here and here, I might want to tween those so that they look more subtle. Now you don't want to tween with your character movement, because then your character will kind of get transparent, but it works very well for kind of background environmental situations. So we'll see some of these tweens now. It adjusts a little bit more slowly. I saw one where the shadows got really deep, so let me find that. That jump, yeah, those two. So I'm going to tween between that as well. And then I think I'm done. Now this whole GIF animation, it's taking about 1.2 gigs right now. And that's great for saving as a Photoshop file for yourself to play with this animation. And it's even good for exporting as an MP4 file. But it's not good for a GIF animation to play online. So we're going to do that both ways, just so you know how, because Photoshop makes that really easy now. So if I'm happy with it, I'm going to save it. This is called Carl Assignment 5, Stage with Assets PSD, right? That's where I would go to make changes. I have all my assets here, I have all my frames, all my timing. But before I made any substantive change to layers, I would have to first delete all of my timeline frames, which would be heartbreaking. Okay, now I'm going to change my timeline feature here. This is important. This is new to Photoshop, to the newer versions. And I'm going to change it to this timeline viewing as well. And it plays the exact same thing. It's just more about its specific timing. But the reason we do that, let's set the loop. We want to set the loop playback. The reason we do that is so we can export it, which you can export from frame by frame. It's having trouble processing all of it, so let me just pause it. Okay, so I do that by going to the window options when I'm in the timeline and say render video. And this is just for fun and for yourself, so that you have a really high quality video example of what you've created at full resolution, which should be enough to kind of fill a screen believably if you set it up in the way that we did. Oh, come on, come on. It can take a while. And it's going to output it as an MP4 file that you can be viewed in iTunes, or it can be viewed in QuickTime. It can be played on most devices. I'll pause until it finishes rendering. Okay, so it's just about finished exporting my video. There we go. I saved it back to my folder. Let's see if we can find it here. And there it is. So it's an MP4 file, Notice the black frame around it. I find that helpful. Instead of opening it up in iTunes, which I could do and add it to my library and put it on devices, I like to view it in QuickTime. And QuickTime allows you to loop it. And you see how it fills the whole screen, and I can play it. One pass through my animation is 22 seconds, which is not bad for just doing a small fraction of a second each time. And in this resolution, you can see the eye movement. You can see everything I did. You can see these slow transitions in the light, pulling back. But it won't start over again unless I tell it to loop. And then it will just keep playing forever. Now, if I was doing a GIF animation for a gallery show, this is how I would show it. Just full screen, let it play. Now the problem is, in order to show it online, we need to make it a lot more memory friendly. So what we need to do is shrink its size and kind of downsample its memory. And the way we do that is with a graphic interchange format file, which is called a GIF file. So let me close this movie file, go back to my PSD, which is saved, right? I don't need to see my timeline anymore. My PSD is perfect. Now I want to save it as a different file format at a different size. So I'm going to go to image size, and this is the parameters you should all try to do. You need to keep this file fairly small. So I'm going to do it 7.5 inches by 7.5 inches by 100 pixels per inch. You can do 8 by 8 inches by 100, but something around there. Depends how many frames you have. I have quite a few frames. Okay? Because even that, shown at 100%, is still plenty big on a screen. Now I need to go to File, Save for Web. In older versions it said Save for Web and Devices, but now we save for devices with that render video. So now Save for Web, we will be taken to a screen where the defaults are a graphic interchange format at 256 colors. The quality should be bicubic smoother. I like to support transparency, but you don't need to. And then you can kind of play it through, make sure it looks okay. And you'll see that this will take about 16 megabytes. And as long as your GIF takes less than 50 megabytes, you'll be able to put it up to PhotoBucket. Now you'll see by limiting the colors, it looks kind of chunky. You don't have all the beautiful atmospheric effects. See that with just the pixels? But it does help it play online and play, pretty consistently. So if that looks good to you, then you hit save. Save it to your desktop as a GIF file. And then do not save your Photoshop file because you don't want it shrunken. So close it and don't save. You can close your other files, your asset files. And now the last demo I have to do is how to make your finished storyboard. So we've executed our vision. Now we need to make a clean storyboard from our finished frames. And we need the GIF animation to do that. So let me make sure I have all those things onto the desktop. Here's my GIF. I want to test it, and that will be the end of this demo. I test it by opening it with a web viewer like Chrome, and it will play just within the window. There we go. Very good.